My name is Jolene Joseph, and I am the Executive Director of the Native Wellness Institute. I'm super happy to be here. I'm super happy to see all of you out there, even though I can't see you. I know you'll be out there. Um, so we are in week 7 of our Native Wellness Power Hour, and this is our response to the pandemic that we're in. So we knew and realized right off the bat that an already traumatized people were going to be re-traumatized from this pandemic. And so we gathered and made decisions right away about what can we do as the Native Wellness Institute to offer support. And so we brainstormed and we came up with the Native Wellness Power Hours. And so the intent behind them is to provide daily programming, 7 days a week, to help uplift our people, to help provide opportunities for healing. So we've had things like comedy shows and storytelling and workshops and prayer songs from many nations and different programming every day at the same time that people can tune into um, for their overall well-being. So we're thankful for our faithful viewers that check in every day. The sessions are recorded and can be found on our Facebook page, on our website, as well as YouTube. So if you miss one, you can go back. This week on Saturday, we started our MMIW Awareness Week. And so we've had different programming each week. We've had some amazing speakers and panels. I really encourage you to go back and take a look at them. Today, we have 2 awesome young women who are going to share what's been happening in Montana. We know that Montana has been hit hard by MMIW, and there's been lots of amazing work happening. And so today's show is about that work. And so we have one more person who was having technical difficulties, and hopefully she'll be able to join us in a little bit. But first of all, I want to welcome Briana and Bethany, both of you. Thank you so much for joining us. And Briana, do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Briana Lamb. I am an enrolled member of the Ani or Grovant tribe from Fort Belknap, Montana. And I currently reside in Missoula, Montana with my 2 boys and a large part of my family.
Awesome. Thank you. And welcome again. Bethany?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to see you guys. I haven't socialized with anyone in a while, so it makes me happy. I'm Bethany Yellowtail. I'm the founder of BeYellowtail.com, which is an Indigenous-owned women's apparel brand and accessories. I'm actually currently on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation with my family. I'm from the Crow and Northern Cheyenne Reservation, so I feel really fortunate I can be here in Montana waiting the pandemic out since I'm mostly based in Los Angeles. So I'm happy to be here and I'm really, really enjoying being a country bumpkin.
Awesome. That's good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. So today, if you're just tuning in, this week of our Power Hours is focused on MMIW or MMIWG, MMIWP, MMIWR, all the things that we're calling it. And we're bringing attention and helping to bring awareness. And today we're focusing on what's happening in Montana. So Briana, let's start with you. And can you just share, first of all, like what drives you to do this work? And then can you just tell us about the work that you're doing?
Okay. So I guess what drives me to do this work, or how I originally started was, about 8 years ago now. It seems like another lifetime ago. I left a really violent relationship, and in just navigating my way out of that, fell into doing domestic violence advocacy, and then it shifted to MMIW advocacy. And since then, I've just been doing whatever I can to help create change, long lasting change in this movement. And recently it's shifted to policy work and learning the ins and outs of legislation and helping create change that way. So this past year in Montana, our legislative session goes every 2 years for 90 days. So it's not very long and you have to make things happen quick. But this last year, myself and a group of other natives and our allies in the legislature we were able to pass about 5 different pieces of legislation related to MMIW. And so right now we are in the after effects of that and implementing that change and seeing how it works, and then looking at it to see what we can do for our next legislative session, which will be coming up here pretty quickly. And as for right now, we're also focusing June 2nd is our Montana primary to vote. Voting's very important in Indian country, and especially in Montana, where we and especially for natives, I should say, because we face a lot of voter discrimination, because the native vote in Montana is large, and we can create a lot of change in that way. So right now, I think I addressed that question. I kind of got off on a tangent, but that's where we're at right now, for me personally.
Awesome. That was really good. Thank you, Briana. So I know that
Yeah.
you were the guest one time of the Montana senator to the State of the Union. Can you just share a little bit about that? How did that happen, and what was that experience like for you?
Oh, I think that originally came about because I actually sat at it was called an Urban Indian Roundtable with Senator Tester, and I posed the idea and question to him of how can we create I think it went something like, how can we bring MMIW, the issue of MMIW, to mainstream America and Montana, and how would you do that, and how would you help create change, or something like that. And he had never heard of the issue, as many people haven't. And from there, he kind of was intrigued at the idea and really wanted to help. And I was able to have a hand in organizing the first ever congressional hearing on MMIW at the Senate on Indian Affairs Committee in about December of 2017, I believe it was. Or was it 18? I don't know. Dates get all blurry, especially in today's world. But and so from there, we did that. Lisalynn was actually there. If she might be joining us here, I don't know.
Yeah.
And from there, I was just asked to be his guest at the State of the Union address, and it was very awesome experience. It was very cool to be in the presence of a lot of people who do a lot of great things. I actually sat by this woman who runs a small nonprofit in her community I believe she was from New Jersey, and she was the guest of her state senator. So it was very cool to meet other like-minded people.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for all of the awesome work that you do. I'm just super proud of you, and it's just amazing to watch the work that you do, and the way that you do it. So thank you, Briana. So we'll switch gears a little
Thank
bit.
you.
Yes, we have a little lag. There's like a 3 or so second lag in between. So Bethany, how about can you share with us, like, what is your passion in being involved in this movement, and what is some of the work that you have been involved with?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm a Northern Cheyenne tribal member. I'm from the Crow Indian Reservation, so my home and my community is very, very, very central to all the ways I operate in the world. And it has been really the core reason why I got into fashion, and I wanted to see myself, I wanted to see my community be represented. And so, kind of like looking at things for full circle, it only makes sense that using a platform like fashion and art to really like amplify issues is really important. And so I really since the issue of MMIW is very large in Bighorn County, specifically where I grew up, I just was called to do it, and it just wasn't really a question of whether I should get involved or not. It's like I have to. We've lost, I've lost relatives, we've lost young people that, just like me, I relate to them. I grew up just in the same ways that they are and face the same things they do. So I feel fortunate that the platform that we've built through Be Yellowtail, we're able to kind of like shine light, but also really activate with our community. So most recently, for those of you who weren't aware, in January, Selena Not Afraid was found. Her body was found, and it just feel like I have amazing young people who I'm really, really I love and I care about that go to school with her. Her father's actually related to me, and it just like struck something that I couldn't stop thinking about her, and I couldn't stop thinking about the young people at home who I love so much and who were going to school with her and were hurting. And they called me and they're like, Auntie, this is going on, and I didn't even know how to console them. And so the work that's happening around MMIW, there's so much happening in grassroots advocacy, legislation, people who are on the streets and marching. But what I saw that was really missing was that investment in how we're caring for one another. It's really causing a lot of trauma, and I wasn't seeing in our community how we were taking care of our families, providing resources for our young people to cope. And so I didn't know what to do, but I was like, I know people who have these tools in our community, and I really believe that our people have it within ourselves to not solve, but to address this issue, to help each other. I think that it exists here, and we just need to bring the right people in Indian country together to help one another. And so I reached out to Shailene. Really through art. We were just kind of like, that's our language is art and creativity. And we're like, we need to do something. What does this look like? And then the pieces just kind of fell together. And we reached out to you guys at NWI to come to Crow, how we could reach our community and help them bring some sense of relief. Because so many of us, even families who maybe we didn't know Selena personally, but it affected everyone. It really, we saw the ripple of her death all over Indian country and beyond. And I just felt a sense of urgency to come home and to be just with my community and our people. And I reached out to Jory LaFrance, who's a really incredible young leader in Crow Country, my sister, Eleanor Kindness, other tribal members who do incredible work for their community. They're really heart-led. And we just started organizing, and we had no money, no budget, and it just came together so quickly and seamlessly. And Cleora Hill was really incredible in helping get funding right away. And, within days, we had money to make it happen and to bring about 100 people to Crow. We fed, we hired a local catering business who fed us our indigenous foods, our traditional foods. And we really looked at it in like, how can we do this in a way that holistically like nourishes our people? And so it was just really incredible how things came together. And I just do what I do best, which I can organize. I can activate people, but I don't know how to facilitate these things. So I really think like this example of healthy collaboration is really necessary. And I hope that our other communities beyond, Bighorn County, the Crow Reservation, and Northern Cheyenne see that like we really do have access to things like this. And I think there should be a priority in investing in the health and well-being of our people, because we have to get to the root of this. Like all the ways we're marching, we're advocating, we're raising visibility, but we have it within ourselves and within our community to really get to the core. And we don't want to we don't want any more young people missing. It's heartbreaking every time a young woman has to be laid to rest or is never found. And I don't want that to be our normal anymore. Like, I was raised with that being a normal, and I don't want my niece and my nephews to have to that to be their reality.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We were certainly honored to be a part of that that gathering, and just still, feel the deep gratitude and just the healing that happened there. It was an amazing community wellness gathering, and one of the things that we had planned to continue to do is not just make it a one-time gathering. The goal was to go back and do like quarterly gatherings and do different things with the young people, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So here we are, kind of on hold for a while, and until we can get together again physically. So this work, is heavy, right? Like this work is heavy, and especially when we know people that have gone missing, or when we know people that have been murdered. So Briana, we'll start with you. What do you do for your self-care, like not just in the time of pandemic, but what do you do for your self-care in doing this heavy work, to take care of yourself?
I really like to nap. And I also really enjoy movies. Yeah, so if I can just sit and watch a movie and just not do anything, and just lay around and veg out, that's my absolute favorite thing to do. But
Awesome.
aside from that, just yeah. But aside from that, just simple things, before the pandemic, going to dinner with my family, or even just going out to the movies. Since the pandemic, we've shifted a little bit. We've been doing a lot more outside activities, having a fire and making s'mores, or jumping on the trampoline, just to have that time together where we're not doing work or we're not involved in anything crazy, and we can visit and joke and laugh. So, but above all, napping.
All right, thank you. Rest is always a good thing. And then how about you, Bethany? Given this heavy work, what do you do to grieve in a good way and take care of yourself?
That's actually something I'm trying to recalibrate, because I think that pre-pandemic, my way of grieving is to get busy and to be useful, and that's not always the best, because I like add to my burnout.
Mm.
And so I think with like what was going on locally at home, and it really rocked our community and our families. My way of like dealing with it was to organize and get busy and be useful. And I think I learned that from all like our aunties and our grandmas and our moms are so amazing. And I think that's just kind of that Indian mom, Indian auntie nature in me activated. But afterwards, honestly, I was just totally laid out, and it kind of forced me to just hole up for a while. And oh, um, I'm still navigating like how to take care of myself better, to be honest. So now in the pandemic, I've been really, really enjoying being outside more. I can say I took it for granted being in Los Angeles. As soon as the pandemic hit, I was like, get me out of here. I got to go home. Like, I can't be stuck inside in the city. And it just scared me. So I really, I know moving forward in my life, like, I will never take for granted, like, having fresh air, being able to be next to the river and the mountains. And I love being home in Crow and Northern Cheyenne country. I just like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to leave again. But yeah, being outside, I actually took up running recently, which is never in my life did I think I'd be a runner. I'm like really enjoying it. And so yeah, running and baking. I've been baking a lot of banana bread, and today I'm making a gluten-free vegan brownies with sweet potatoes. So I'm super excited to try that. And also, you can ask everyone. I am
Yum.
not someone who cooks, so this is like a new Bethany is coming.
That's awesome. I know we're doing sourdough bread. So a friend of,
Oh,
yeah, and I've never done that before, but a friend of mine wanted to make some, and she reached out to a friend of hers, or a friend of ours, who sent a start from Alaska. So this sourdough start came from Alaska. She shared it
wow.
with me. So we it doubled since yesterday. So it doubles, and we got to double it again, and then by I think tomorrow or Saturday we'll be ready to bake it. But anyway,
Awesome.
Mm.
we're doing different too. So well, thank you both for sharing. I think I wanted to specifically ask you that question because so many people can relate, I think, and especially this week of awareness. You know, we've had some awesome programming happen. We're seeing lots of awesome programming happening virtually online. And I think for women, because we are like these natural organizers and, you know, coordinating and getting things done, like it's really important for us to pause and really focus on our grieving and our self-care. So thank you for sharing those tips. And hopefully the people out there can, you know, take that healthy risk and take a nap today, or, you know, feel like we don't always have to be busy. Like we can stop and
Yeah.
slow down and just like and do nothing. So thank you for being a great example of that. So we keep hearing from Lisalynn. So we do have another person who's still trying to get on, and hopefully by the end she'll be able to get on. But I wanted to give a shout out to Lisalynn Loring, who has done incredible organizing to find, you know, her relative, Ashley Loring Heavy Runner. So it looks like it's not going to work. I'm just looking at my messages right now, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the work that she does on the Blackfeet Reservation. So we can keep her family and Ashley in our prayers, as you know, the search continues for her. So I just wanted to mention that. So now if we could shift gears and just talk about, in doing this work, and watching this work unfold across Indian country, across North America really, and even into other places globally, what have been some highlights for you? So what have been some highlights? And then, and also what have just been like some profound moments for you in this movement? So Briana, would you like to go first?
Sure. So when I first started, I started out with doing small vigils and walks and just anything I could to bring awareness or get attention to the issue. And I think for me, seeing that handful of people show up to those, and now having gatherings, organizing gatherings of thousands, just in that right there is very profound to me. And this past year I've actually gotten to work with youth a lot more, and I think that in seeing their passion and their need to help and change the world, I think that is something that's really um to use the word again, profound and amazing to me. And I'm always an advocate for letting the youth take lead, because they definitely know what they want. So I think that they're definitely like our fire holders and keeping us going in this movement, and anywhere in Indian country really. So I think those are some of definitely some of my highlights right there.
Awesome, thank you. And tomorrow is Friday, and it ends our week, this our week 7, and the MMIW Awareness Week. We actually have young people on tomorrow, so we're ending our week with hearing voices from our young people and what they think and what they want and what they're
Awesome.
doing. So we're excited for our panel for tomorrow.
Mhm.
So Bethany, how about you? What have been some of your highlights and profound moments of doing this work?
Yeah, I think the profound moments for me have been, again, like the things that I see happening in our, like right in our community, that because a lot of the, you know, public narrative around MMIW when you're outside of Indian country, you know, like people don't really see natives that often. They also don't understand the dynamics of our communities. And so being mostly in Los Angeles, I've lived there for about 12 years now. I've been there since I was a teenager. People have these misconceptions about Native folks, and maybe sometimes say things that are hurtful. And for me, the highlights have been that, like, that beautiful reminder, like when I get to go home, like there's so much good happening in our communities. There's so many people who are on the front lines who are standing really strong, and like the youth are holding the fire, like you said. One of my favorite moments that I had, I think it was about 2 years now, is that I actually got to meet Anita Casey from Sovereign Bodies Institute at a women's sewing circle that I was helping host on the Northern Cheyenne community. And just like she did this presentation so like beautifully and like with so much care to our community about the data she was collecting, while at the same time, like we were teaching all these young women and older women and kalas, you know, how to sew maybe for the first time. And it was just so beautiful to like be in community and doing the things that I love, which is like making clothes and sewing. And it was all just made so much sense. And so that moment for me was such a beautiful highlight, and like a really affirming moment for me personally, that like I'm on the right path and I'm doing like what I've always been meant to do. And I think those moments are just really, really special that I hold on to.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, Anita and Anita were on Tuesday. So she got to be on the Power Hour on Tuesday. So that was really good to have her and her work being represented. So yesterday we had a men's panel, and we had, gosh, I think like 6 different men from all over the country that are doing this work. And there was some really profound statements that were shared from them. Somebody shared about this movement should be, or more men should be involved in this movement, because it's predominantly men, right, who are the perpetrators against the women. So so more men need to be involved. So there was a call out to call in more men. And then there was some other statements made about the men need to shut up and listen. That wasn't my words. That was like their words that people were telling them. They need to shut up and listen. So for the men that we have tuning in, or for the women that will share this with the men in their lives, what would be some messages that you would have for men specifically regarding this movement? So Briana, would you like to share first?
Sure. I think that a message I would have specifically for men is, I wouldn't necessarily say shut up, but I mean, across the board, it's good. Oh, Lissa's here.
Lissa made it.
I,
No, I'm not looking my prettiest right now, okay?
I mean,
okay, go ahead, Briana.
good to see you. Okay. Well, I mean, Justin, when I originally started, like, that's what I can compare it to. Like, men never show up to anything, you know, any events that pertain to MMIW, no matter what it is. But now I think there's a small shift happening right now, and so maybe that call out to call in will help that shift more. And so I do see a lot more men actively participating. But then at the same time, when you do have that call out to call in, some of the men who do answer that call are the perpetrators and are the ones who are harming our women. So in being a good ally to women, men need to call out those men as well, instead of having that bro code where we're not going to say anything. So I think that's something definitely that we need to think about, because I see that a lot in the men who are in becoming involved in the movement are the ones committing violence and crimes against our women. So
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that's a definite conversation that we as women have behind closed doors, right? And it's interesting that you talk about the bro code, the bros like keeping their bros, on the down low, or not bringing things out. That's awesome. So
yeah.
So Bethany, before we get to you, I'm going to jump to Lisalynn real quick, and so welcome. We're so glad that you made it.
Thank you. I know I had the hardest time getting this on here.
Yeah, well, we're glad you made it. So you want to just introduce yourself real quick to everyone?
My name is Lisalynn, Kicking Woman. I'm from Browning, Montana. I'm Blackfeet, and I currently living in Washington.
Okay, and so I had asked Briana and Bethany just to share about like what drives you to do this work, and what is the work that you do in the MMIW movement.
The drive is, our women, our girls, and the jump start for me though was when our loved one Ashley, heavy runner Loring, went missing. This is something you don't want anybody to feel. It's a horrible feeling, and from the experience of wondering and not knowing where she is, kind of knowing what happened, and, still nothing we can do about it. We don't have the help. So that was my biggest drive. My biggest drive was to try to not have anybody feel alone like we did.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And so what have been some of the work that you have been doing?
My thing is, I always remind people, if something happens and you can't get their name out there, let me know. I could make a poster. I could be your shoulder. I could come out and help you if you're close enough to me. Or if I have the funding at the time, we'll make it to you. I just don't, like I said, I don't want people to feel alone. So the posters help me to feel like I'm doing something for the community who has a loved one missing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And so I know, especially because your family is directly impacted by this, and then you find yourself in this movement of, helping other people. What do you do to help your own grieving and self-care while being involved in this movement?
It's actually still a thing for me. I just smudge a lot. I pray to Creator. I pray to my grandparents. Also my kids, my family. As much as if I could focus on them, it helps me to deal with the rest of it, because this isn't easy. It's really hard, and I didn't realize how hard it was to do the self-care until one day I just broke down. I broke down. It was hard. It was really hard. I think of all of our elders and them missing their loved ones. I think of about, the brothers, the sisters, out there on Facebook begging for help. And it really took a big, it was just like holding me. So it's a deep, heartbreaking feeling, I guess I could say. So yeah, just smudging and focusing on positive things as well, has really been helping.
Good. Thank you. And thank you again for jumping on here. I know you're busy with your family. We appreciate you coming on. Like, I just give you a big virtual hug.
Yes, thank you guys I was trying to get on here all I could, but it kept telling me error. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm just going to do everything I can. So
We're glad. Thank you. So just before you came on, we were shifting gears a little bit, and I was just asking our reminding everyone, yesterday we had a men's panel, and it was really powerful. And some of the comments and feedback we heard from women that said, we have never heard men talk like that before. So some of the men on the panel were saying, you know what, like, I used to be an abuser and I'm not anymore, because I've worked on myself, I've worked on my healing. And so Bethany, if you want to share now, for the men listening, or the men that somebody will share this panel with, like, what would be a message that you would have for men?
I think to be brave in this work. That was something I definitely noticed when we were organizing for the Crow Wellness Gathering. I got really frustrated because there were so many women who signed up. We had like 170 women signed up, and there were 3 men. And I was just furious. I was mad. And so I just reached out to, some relatives and friends. And I said, hey, like, we really need men to be involved here. Like, it's unacceptable that women have to keep carrying this all the time. Like, we see our aunties again, and our moms and our grandmas are so tough, but I'm tired of seeing them. Even myself, I'm starting to feel like we just carry on everything, and it's not fair. We need men to step into those roles again. And, we understand like why maybe that role of men has been, is not so prevalent in our communities, but now is an opportunity for them to step into it. And so I challenge men to be brave and be willing to receive information and follow our lead, but we need them to carry things. I was really proud to see that there were a handful of men who showed up at the Crow Wellness Gathering, like Ben Pease, who's another artist and relative of mine, Josh Stewart, who's an incredible coach and leader for Lodgegrass High School. He's doing incredible work there with the school, and people like him. There are a few, and I hope that as they continue to do their really important work, that more men will join them. But it just takes a few, and then more will come. So I really encourage them to be brave, and that we need you. I think sometimes we kind of like, oh, these men and these Indian men, and push them off, but we actually really do need them, and we need them to carry things for us. So
Awesome.
be brave.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And how about Lisa? For the men that are out there tuning in today, what's a message that you would have for men?
Just like, like said before, we need you. Sometimes women have a lot on their shoulders, and this is one thing that I feel like we need our men in, because yes, women are, independent. We know at times how to protect ourselves, but it would be a lot more help if we had our men protecting us as well. Everybody needs to come together now. There's things that we can't all keep fighting on our own. And and there is some good guys out there. I see guys who are talking about the movement and very supportive, but then you have some who still are degrading the women in the movement. And I think that it's time for all of us just to come together, because we need everyone now.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's worth repeating some of those messages that you all shared. So for the men that are out there, please share this with other men, right? That's part of, like, these women are inviting you into the movement to be involved. They're inviting you to call out and call in your bros who are trying to be involved and are still perpetrators. Like, these are powerful messages that these women are sharing. Like, man, I'm looking right at you, like, sharing these messages in a good way, right? In a good way. And I was on a call earlier, and we were talking about the lasting impacts of historical and intergenerational trauma. and we were talking about the unspoken rules that many of our people hold on to, the rules of don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. And I always think that those rules, hang over this movement as well, right? And hang over many other areas too. So, um, for the women that are out there, the young women, to elders and all of us in between, what would be some um, messages? What would be some words that you would like to share with the women that are listening in today? So, Briana, we'll start with you.
Jeez. Let's see. A message to women today. I guess basically to start, I'd like to say thank you, because we all shared that sentiment that our women carry everything. And so thank you for everything that you do. Please take time for yourselves, take care of yourselves. Never be afraid to ask for help from anybody. Cause I'm here, Liz is here, I know Beth's here. We have a large network, and we're all in this together. And just once again, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Bethany, what would you like to share with women of all ages that are out there tuning in today?
Yeah, I'm just so inspired by women. I think I like going back to like the work that I do full time in fashion and using art as a platform. Women are the driving force for like creativity and just like a lot of the things that inspire me. So, man, I just love you. I love my sisters. We have so many good connections all over. And I'm just grateful for all the women who've stepped up, who've mentored me, who've stood with me, who've cried with me, and I'm just grateful. Like, man, women are amazing. But what I would say too for maybe like the younger women, hopefully that are listening. As a young person, I didn't really understand or have access to mentors, and I wish that I would have had access to this information when I was a younger person. So really, like, it's the internet is so useful, and there's so many people doing this work, who maybe if it's not MMIW work, there's other issues all throughout Indian country. Like, you don't have to know everything, and you don't have to be an expert in everything, but just start somewhere. Something that you're gravitating to, that pulls at your heart. Just start. And if you can find mentors along the way to help you, and listen, really be a forever learner. So I think that if I was a younger person, I wish someone would have told me, like, here's this person, or showed me people doing good things, that maybe I would have emulated it a little bit earlier, because I had to learn some really tough lessons on my own. So mentorship is really, really important.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. And Lisa, how about you? What would be some messages that you would want to give women of all ages that are tuning in today?
My first message is to keep standing up, because I know that the ones who are tuning in are the ones who are becoming a huge voice in this movement. This has really made an impact on other people, but like everybody said, I go to a lot of my elders from back home in Browning for anything I need. I mean, I even called one today, like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous, give me some good advice. Because, like, I not the type to get out there and talk, but they're really good mentors. The way they have guided me through everything growing up. I've been, like we said, I've had some trauma happen to where I felt alone, but because of our elders and some of the women that I've met growing up, they have really helped me along the way. And I just think, get louder, everybody just get loud, and let's do this together. I mean, the message that I want to send is we just need to keep standing up. no matter what is said, we just need to become one and just stand up together, make a change together.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank your kids. They're being so well behaved back there.
No,
Good back there.
they're my car. They're always in the car. So
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. Actually, was going to be on mentorship and mentors. And so, who are your mentors?
is
Brianna,
that for me or
well,
Brianna?
all of you. We'll go through all of you. But Brianna, do you want to start first?
So I definitely would have to start with my family. My great grandma had, 8 girls. So we come from a long line of very strong women. You being one of them, Jolene. My aunts across the board, definitely, my cousins, I definitely have learned something from everybody, and I definitely carry that with me today. I would also have to say, in getting involved in this work, I've created, that strong network of Native women I've met outside my family. Um, and we all definitely lean on each other and learn from each other, and we're all there. If I ever have a problem, I can be like, oh hey, I can call up so and so, and we can, figure something out. So I'm very appreciative of my family and my friends and this network that I've built and am continuing to add to. And so that definitely, family, friends first and foremost. Thankful for them.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Brianna. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Brianna is my niece. And I'm just like super, super, super
Yes.
proud of her. And no matter what happens, she just keeps moving forward. Like I admire that about you, Brianna, so much. No matter what happens, like you just keep moving forward and you keep being of service. So thank you, and I love you, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us today.
I love you too.
You're amazing,
Thank
Brianna.
you.
So Beth, how about you? Tell us about your mentors.
Yeah, well, I would say one of my very first mentors, that I called a mentor was actually Thosh Collins. He's also on part of NWI. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with him, but Thosh was one of my very, very first friends and mentors when I was brand new to Los Angeles. And he really was instrumental in helping me navigate how to stay connected to community while pursuing your dreams and career far, far away from home. And he really helped me. And so I still consider him. I love watching the way he leads his family, the way he has transformed over the years. He's helped me with my sobriety, deciding to, step away from alcohol, and just the way that he lives in the world. And so he was one of my first. Theta, of course, I just really admire her. My family, NWI, all of you guys, I'm really grateful. Shailene, I feel fortunate that NWI is not only a resource for our communities, but also personally, that I can look to you and rely on and have an example. Because I really think with mentorship, we have to be able to see ourselves. We have to be able to see an example for us to keep moving forward and to imagine what's possible. We have to do that together. And lastly, I would say my next mentor is my niece, Demaya Storm Little Coyote. That little girl is incredible. She's a language speaker. She's a dancer. She even wrestles. She's just so confident, and just being able to live with her and watch the way she is as a little tiny young human being, like she's taught us so much. And so I consider her my mentor because I'm watching her and she knows so much that I don't. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And how about you, Lisa? Who are your mentors?
One mentor is a memory was just my grandpa George, Kicking Woman. Growing up, he has given me a lot of his wisdom, passed it on. and reminded me, he was a strong believer that women were everything. Everything that we've done revolved around our women, and we have to protect each other, and the men should be protecting us. So he was one of my biggest mentors. And now I just go by memory. He passed away a few years back. So I always think of the stuff he said. And then another one is, of course, my mom and my sisters. Jillian, I've talked to you many times. Deborah, my Aunt Doris Kicking Woman, she's another one I called. She's my go-to, if I have questions about certain things. It's kind of just family, and our elders, like Darnell rides at the door. She's one of my biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, Lou Heavy Runner. So yeah, it's just, it's mainly the elders I kind of go to, my elders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good.
And it helps me through, anything they say has really gotten me through a lot of this. And even watching them videos or whatever, it helps.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Thank you. So Briana's having technical difficulty. Oh, there she is. She's back. Welcome back. So the last thing that I want to ask you before it's time to end our power hour today is, so one of the lasting impacts from trauma is, well, there's many lasting impacts, including chronic negativity, or being a chaos junkie, and part of that chronic negativity contributes to lateral oppression. And so some people will call lateral oppression lateral violence, right? Which really is a part of the whole domestic violence and sexual assault and MMIW movement. And so in healing, we're letting go of things, right? And when we let go of things, we have learned in our decades of work that we need to fill it back up with good things. And when we fill ourselves back up with good things, it's going to be it's not going to be so easy for those bad things to come back in and take that space in our heads and take that space in our hearts. And so one way that we can bring goodness out is by affirming other people, saying good things. And so that's what I'd like to ask you each to do now. To maybe it's a woman that's listening in today that you don't even know, or maybe it's a specific person in your circle. But I would just like you to say some positive words to a woman, to another woman that's out there today. Again, that might be listening in, or that might not. But regardless, like we'll all be able to connect with that. So, Briana, I'll start with you.
Let's see. The first person that comes to mind right now is my friend Mia Ground. I just want to say that I'm very proud of her for graduating this year. She was very afraid to go back to school and wasn't sure if she could do it, but she's graduating this year, and we'll celebrate when this pandemic is over. I'm very proud of you, and I love you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Bethany, who do you want to affirm today and give a shout out to?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, but I think my mom and my sister, my mom Lena Yellowtail and Jamie Yellowtail. My mom just graduated with her master's degree, and we are so proud of her. I've seen her go to school most of my adult life, and I'm just proud of her. She's also a nurse at the Veterans Hospital in Sheridan, Wyoming. So, we've been most particularly concerned about her, and she's just taking this pandemic with grace and stride, and she's not afraid. And I just really admire and love my mom. Also, my sister, who is getting ready to move to Michigan in the fall for her PhD, and all of her research specifically is on this issue. She's going to be working under Dr. Stephanie Freiberg. And their research has been really crucial and instrumental in passing legislation for MMIW. So just sending so much prayers and gratitude to both of my mom and my older sister, who I just love and admire. So I'm proud of you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And Lisa, who do you want to send some love out to today?
Um, there's actually a few people as well. I see there's a lot of things going on with families because of the quarantine and because of missing loved ones. But I would just like to send a lot of love to the LaValle family. I always see, I believe her name's Cheslin. She's really hurting right now, so I just want to send all my love out to her. And, to all the families out there that are worried about being able to search for their loved ones right now because of the shutdown and the social distancing. I'm with you. I feel it. We really strongly feel it because we're like, how are we going to search for Ashley? What are we going to do? Um, but, I believe that it will still go on. We'll still be able to find our loved ones. We'll still be able to get out there because I know that's become our norm. And now that's taken away from us. So I see a lot of posts lately about how people are just afraid or they don't know what to do. So just know I'm here. If you need me, message me. So I just want to tell everybody, if you need anything, even if it's just a shoulder, I'm here. And I'm sending love to all the ladies right now going through stuff and, our men as well. And to all of you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I think that could become a new norm for women. And I think as women, we need to see and hear other women uplifting other women, right? Like we can break through the the straps that sometimes that lateral oppression has on us. And I think it's super powerful, like I said, to hear other women uplift other women. And so I encourage all the women that are out there, reach out to someone today and uplift them, whether it's through a text, an email, on social media, especially this week, the MMIW Awareness Week. It has been heavy for many people, right? And so part of that uplifting is also, it's healing. It's healing, and it's an act of decolonization. I always say that, healing is an act of decolonization. Healing is an act of self-love. Healing is an act of self-preservation. And so I'm just grateful, really, really grateful to each of you for agreeing to come and share with us today. And the words that you spoke, were heartfelt and they were uplifting and inspiring. So thank each of you for joining us. And I just want to remind everyone, this is our daily, 7 days a week, Native Wellness Power Hour. Tomorrow will be our last session, and it's hearing from our young people. So we have several young people that are going to share their thoughts about this movement and the messages that they want you to hear. So please tune in. And then Saturday, we began our week 8. So I can't believe we're on week 8 already.
Wow.
Yeah, week 8. And we'll hear from some elders on Saturday. Their wisdom. We'll have prayer songs from many nations on Sunday. And then we have a whole week of some awesome programming. And if you've missed any of the programming, or if this is your first one, you can go back to the Native Wellness Institute Facebook page. And so we have 42 sessions that you can watch. You can go to our website, nativewellness.com. You can check in on our YouTube channel, but please tune in. So thank you, everyone. Give yourself a big virtual hug from me. And out there too, give yourself a big virtual hug. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you all. Love you so much. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
How do we do this?